we got enough eyeballs and enough people in here. But first mistake is, let's say, it's not so much of finding VAs. There's tons and tons and tons of virtual assistants, but how do you do it? Okay, so there's first step in finding them, right? Let's say I go to, if I want Indian or I want Filipino or I want Brazilian, whatever country you go to, you can go into Facebook chats or groups and you can find them in groups, right? You can go on PH outsourcing sites. You can go on other sites. Some of them are going to be vetted, but half of the time you're going to get fucking burnt. It's just the bottom line. You will get burnt, even when someone says they are vetted. All right. Now, I was taught by Dennis Yu, and if you don't know Dennis Yu, go look him up. You'll see him. He's all over the news, and he's all in social media, and he just knows what the hell he's doing. One of the things he taught me is that, let's say, for example, we gotta find out in a VA, we want to outsource, we want them to do, let's say, link building or on-page SEO, etc. So, and you guys can give me some examples of what y'all are doing, and we can go over that as well. But essentially, whenever I make a job post, most people will go, for example, they'll go, hey, looking for a full-time SEO person, must be willing to work from 8 to 5 p.m. East Coast USA Standard Time, good English skills, good internet. You might cover those sort of things. Good, good computer. And then you think you're covered, right? Wrong, right? Okay. So what Dennis taught me, for example, was whenever you do a job post, you'll tell them, email this email address, and you always want to use this very specific email. Or besides that, if you really have it set up right, you'll have an application funnel. A funnel being in Go High Level, or a one-pager on a website, or a form on Google Forms. It goes into a Google Sheet, but where you capture their information. But what you want is to tell them, for example, when applying, please use the subject's line, Daffy Duck. Something really fucking crazy, like, I mean, just off the wall. Like, Bambi would use, please use subject line Donald Duck or something like that. And you say, why? Because the first thing I need to test is, you're going to get application after application after application. And you want to see, does this person listen to instructions? And the easiest way to find out if someone's actually reading your instructions is to put in, and I learned that from Dennis, was the subject line. In this case, it'd be a cartoon character or something crazy. It doesn't have to be a cartoon character, but that's what I was taught. So then once I get those that actually listened, which ain't gonna be a lot, but those that actually listened, I delete the rest of them. The ones that listen, then I'm going to tell them, I'm going to respond to them and say, make me a short 1-minute video telling me about yourself. Not what you do. This is kind of what I did at the conference. Who is Todd? Who is Miguel? Who is Bambi? Tell me about yourself. Not, hey, I have 20 years of SEO experience or 10 years SEO experience, and I've done this, and I've done this, and I've done this. That is not who you are. You know what? Do you have kids? How old are you? How long you've been married? Stuff like that. Why? Because I want to know about you, right? Because if I know something about you, I will also be able to judge based on that your work ethic. I can tell you, for the most part, not knocking anybody that's not, but generally speaking, single folks that don't have no kids, that haven't went through some life, that haven't went through what it means to have to pay bills and support people, they are going to be young, dumb, and full of what. So they're going to make irrational decisions. They're not going to be committed to you. There will be no loyalty to you. They're going to let life circumstances get in the way. If their internet goes down, it's just, oh well, big whoop to do dog. Grandma dies or grandpappy dies. It's just, I'll be out for 2 weeks. I'm sorry, and you're screwed. Okay, so those are things that we're doing, that I at one point was doing to find my virtual assistants. Right now, that's totally changed because now Kirk handles all of that. So Kirk over at Outsource Sharks is the one that handles all of the, if you will, finding and sourcing virtual assistants. And none of our staff over at Outsource Sharks are actual virtual assistants. They're all in-house staff, and we do managed virtual assistant placement. So what's the difference between you hiring a virtual assistant and you coming to someone like me and Kirk? Well, the difference is, which virtual assistant agency or what virtual assistant can you hire that you can say, hey, William, can you train my VA on this SOP? I'll tell you how many you can do. None, zero, zilch. I'm literally with them, every day. Yesterday I was there, day before there I was there training them on some SOPs that I do. I'm training them on some GSA, Ranker X, and some other black hat shit right now. Sorry, I gotta have my coffee. So that's been a big difference. Kirk is the one that sources them all for me, so he's taking that headache off of me. Right, and one of the things I had an issue with wasn't necessarily finding. So when I live here versus you guys that don't live here, there's going to be a lot of differences. Like that's how I used to source them, with the emails and the videos and stuff like that. Now, when you're here, there are benefits. Like I can go to a school, a college, and apply for a fund. My wife, because she's Philippine citizen, and you can get a fund in which you can get internships. So an internship being they have to work so many hours for free doing SEO, GMB posts, whatever it is, so they can earn their internship. Bad news is they only do it for, let's say 160, 200 hours. And then once they're done, they don't have to work for you. They only have to do it to get their working hours. We have a similar thing in the United States. When I was going through school, I don't know if they still do it because I'm old as shit now, but they used to have that where you'd have working hours and you come to school and then you go work and you had to put in so many hours, etc. That's one way. And we would go to, if you will, IT technical schools to source them, because in my mind, and in probably many of you minds, and you just tell me, give me a thumbs up, give me a hands. How many of you think that would you have better results with someone that's been trained in technical stuff like JavaScript and they actually went through some technical school, or someone that don't know shit? Someone that don't know nothing, never went to technical school, never went to college, stuff like that. Who would know better?
You would
I'll wait
think
while
the
I have
guy,
my coffee. Yeah.
you think the guy with a little bit of training, but the one that doesn't know anything, you can train them, like Bambi was saying.
Exactly. So I had two sets, and we'll talk about issues I've had. So I've had people that know nothing, and I've had people there, IT technical people. The IT technical people, problem with them is they think they know every damn thing, right? They're young, and of course, because they're young and they have a little bit of knowledge, they think they know everything from, when you teach them a little bit of SEO, then their heads get big. They think they know everything. They do it all. Right. And then especially the way in which I train people, they think they know it all because the way I train them on get to at the very end, I want them to figure things out and start thinking for themselves and stuff. But now the people that don't know nothing, okay, here's a benefit y'all get of it is let's say I everybody that we pick up, right? Most of them, they're out of school, fresh out of school, or they didn't even go to college, and they don't really they know about online working, but they've never done it. They don't know how to do it. They don't know the tools we use. So the benefit there is I can get really dirt cheap labor, right? Because there's a training period, and mind you, all of our people, right? Even when I had Rate Fortress, before I closed it and rebranded to William Jones Marketing, which is a USA based company, right? All of them were employees. We had to be in, and we still are in full compliance with the Department of Labor, Bureau of Internal Revenue, all the SSS public, all that stuff, right? So same thing with Outsource Sharks. We are an actual business with actual employees and stuff, right? But when they come in for the training period, and we're wanting to see what they're capable of. And I've had people where they didn't even know how to use the damn mouse. Okay. They never even used the keyboard. So I had to go, here's a video game. Serious, I'm not joking. Here's a video game. Learn how to play this video game with a keyboard and mouse, right? And so this gives me the benefit of cheap labor, but then on top of it, they spend about 6 months with us before they're actually, I go, here you go, here's the VA. And I train them with those. I go, and every single person, a lot of times when people hire a VA, they want a Swiss Army knife that does this and does this and does this and does this. That's going to be one of your biggest fuck ups you ever make. Because number one, if you give that person everything, they think they know everything. They think they can get rid of you. They think they can steal your clients, and they will fucking steal your clients because I've had them do it. Okay. I've had people contact my clients and do stuff like that. Okay. So it does happen whenever you don't do things in a proper manner and have a proper structure and have proper security and stuff like that. So there are things I've learned, and I want to teach you guys that, hey, don't do this stupid shit. Right. If you have a question, reach out to someone like me that's actually done it, or Kirk that actually does it, and go, hey, Kirk, and say, hey, what do you do in regards to this? Is this legit? Is this not legit? What would you do in this situation? Rather than trying to go through it yourself and figure it out, why don't you reach out to someone that's actually doing it, etc. Now, once we teach them and we train them and everything, we will train them specifically only on-page SEO or off-page SEO, or creatives, or reels, or edits, or go high level, or web design, or content. We don't train them on everything. So they're doing a specific task, and then they become a specialist in that area. Okay. So, for example, with on-page SEO right now, I have my own SOPs, plus we have technical SEO and Google Core and all the different things that, standard SEO, but then I have my own SOPs, and I go, all right, well, let me train you on my SOPs. And I physically, when someone comes to me and says, hey, I have an SOP, and they want to tell me, here's my SOP, half the time, whenever I look at them, I say, you don't have an SOP. Because I literally have a client that literally came to me and is like, here's my SOP. And he's like, here's the backlinks I want created. Here's some of the login information, right? There was half the login information was missing. There were no step 1, step 2, step 3 on how to do shit, okay? There was no video SOP. There wasn't no complete written SOP. All right, that's not a SOP. So a SOP for me, and this is why I developed my SOP system, which I have online, all right, 200 plus SOPs with ebooks and walkthroughs and all that shit. for you guys is because a SOP for me is written step by step by step by step, right? And then I have videos attached to it in which I say, well, here's how you do GMB posts. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. And then here's the video. And then that's one part of it. Then I will literally take Johnny, the VA, and say, let me show you how to do it. And I will walk them through me doing it. Me, not him, me doing it. Okay. Backlinking, whatever it is, me actually doing it. And then after I show them that, I'll sit there and watch them do it. And then after that, and I see he's done it 2 or 3 times, he's good at it, then I go, now I'm going to give you a client, and I want you to do it on this without me next year. And then I use now Proof Hub, in which they text me, hey, sir, here's the output. I check it, and 99.9% of the time is done perfect. Okay, because I have a full SOP. Now I did a review call out the other day. The review call outs there on the top right hand side of our site. He did it, but it wasn't sitting there. I said, well, you don't know this because you're not a web guy. You're just an on-page SEO guy. But that's called, you need to clear the cache. Because just if you make changes, it's not necessarily all the time going to be there if the cache is not cleared. He cleared the cache, came back, here it is, it worked. So you know what he now knows? Anytime shit don't show up, clear the cache. Also, we have developed, and I'll show you the guys this, but those of you that have not seen it. So I have the SOP system, and then also inside Proof Hub, I have a knowledge base. So the knowledge base is essentially what I'm doing is every single thing I ever have to do, I have SOPs for every single one of them. Right? So that way they know how to do everything. So anytime I go to do something, it's going to be dropped inside of the knowledge base. But this is why Gary V and a lot of people say, well, I don't know how to do YouTube and Reels. Document. Don't have to create. Document. All documenting is going, what is Bambi? What is Todd, Jeremy, Miguel, Chad, Alfredo doing today? It's like, how do you record a day in the life of an entrepreneur? Give your fucking wife a phone and let her record your ass as you're walking around, or your other half, or one of your kids. And then you give this to a VA and they put it together. So all it is documenting life. What is became real world and all that. I remember it came out in the 90s and shit. For those of you that actually remember it, but just document the process. And that's why I developed the SOP system, was because of the sheer fact that I was like, well, how do I do this? And people keep going, well, how do you do, rank math optimization, right? Instead of having to sit there and tell someone over and over and over and over and over again how to do the shit, how to optimize your website with rank math. And this is one of my SOPs. This is the SOP system. And mind you, this don't just cover SEO. This whole system covers everything you need to run a digital marketing pay-per-click ads, social media management, lead generation. So like, here's an intro. I'm going to talk about it. What is rank math? Yeah, things to note before you install it. Then a step-by-step guide. And it's a detailed freaking guide. Then I have an ebook attached to it. Right? Then if you wanted to duplicate this and give this to your VA, you could do that as well. If there's something that's not in here, you submit an SOP request. Right? And then I'll do it. And I'll make the SOP for you. I mean, I don't know anybody else that will make your own SOP for you. I just don't get it. Conversion rate optimization, social media marketing, TikTok advertising, how to make money with age domain. Some of these are actually 200-page ebooks in some of these things. Catchy hooks, captions. Only thing I don't have in here yet is Chat GPT, which I'm about to start adding. Right. So, and that's how I developed this, was going through the crap. Because what happens is, and I was talking to our team leaders about this just not yesterday, but the day before. So the other thing is, we have team leaders and then we have the staff under them. And with the team leaders, we're developing them as leaders and mentors, not just, hey, this is a guy doing SEO. That's not what I want. That's not what Kirk wants. We want leaders and mentors that are leading their team, just like Kirk leads the team. Kirk and Esther are the managers. I'm basically the guy that helps them with consulting and teaching and training. And then I'm the go-between between the clients and the virtual assistants. Because what will happen a lot of times, for example, with the team leader, just give you an example. If consistently one of your VAs is missing something, let's say an H1 in your content, then you need to sit down with them and go over it and say, hey, let me show you some things. You're doing amazing, but here's something you just keep screwing up on. Right. And I'm doing that, I used to call it with my boss, you're sprinkling sugar on shit. All right. I'm wanting to tell you what you're fucking up on, but before doing that, I'm going to tell you what you're doing good, because most people don't want to hear what they're doing bad on. So tell them what they're doing good at first, right? Because that way it doesn't discourage them, it doesn't get them down, stuff like that. And I know that takes a lot of training on our parts as agency owners. This is also why I will tell you, your job as an agency owner, your job as, just an individual, get some damn books like I got in back here on self-development and read, right? Because your job is a leader, as an owner, as an employee, not an employee, but an employer. If you want to be the leader of your organization and you want your VAs to follow, you got to do better. So whenever, and I've told people this, like, for example, whenever I've done bad and something happens in our organization, I go, you know what, what's wrong with me? What do I need to fix? So if you missed episode on Monday, in which I talked about this, I went over, I used to have everything in Google Sheets. If y'all guys are doing Google Sheets, fucking stop that crap, like, immediately. If you need a system, CRM, go high level, sales process, click up, click all of them, right? But get your shit off of Google Sheets. So now I have two separate systems. I have sales process, and then I have Proof Hub, and then I have what I only see, which is SPP, for tracking and managing orders and tickets. And then Proof Hub is what the VAs see. So step one, here's how we're going to hire. You can either hire them yourself and go through the whole process, or you can get managed VAs through Outsource Sharks, someone that actually trains them. I mean, I've had people go, here's my SOP, and here's how it works for me. Okay, let's say it's something that we've never done before. Give me an SOP that is not SEO related, and I'll tell you what do you think, Alfredo? What's an SOP that I probably wouldn't know, or probably wouldn't be trained on? Bambi, give me something. Jeremy, Miguel, Todd, Chad, anything.
Type it in, guys. So an SOP that you wouldn't train.
No, an SOP, for example, that I don't use all the time that I would have to actually, you know, get to know, that sort of thing.
I
CTR
don't know.
booster.
CTR, yeah, that would be.
The CTR booster. Let's say, for example, you wanted to know CTR booster. I don't use CTR booster. Never have used CTR booster. I've only used a handful of CTR methods and tools because I honestly don't think you have to use them to get results that you need when it comes to SEO. But let's say Bambi, Jeremy, Miguel, Todd, Chad, Alfredo came to me and said, hey, I need a VA that does CTR using CTR booster or some new tool that came out. So this is what I'm going to tell you. Please send over your SOP that you have, if you have one. If you do not have one, please write one out, not video it, write it out, and then send it to me. This is what I'm going to now do. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to go through your SOP. I'm going to go through it and learn it myself. Then I'm going to send my output to you. And you tell me, did it fuck up? Did I miss some things? Did I get it right? And then I'm going to polish it and tweak it till I get it 100% right. I'm then going to write it out, make a clear SOP and video it. And then I'm going to train someone on it. I'm going to make sure they can do it just like me. And then I'm going to tell you VA's ready. There's nobody that does that shit. The other method you could use, my boy Daniel Jones, and yes, his name is Jones. He doesn't do managed VAs because, and he'll tell you, managed VAs are a pain in the ass. What he does is he sources, or he's what we call in the States a headhunter. He finds someone that's really good at whatever task you're wanting. He does do the training. He does do some of the stuff and make sure they're good and they're very high A game players. But he'll tell you, for example, you want an A game player, you better be an A game employer. And most people are not A+ A game employers. Most of the time they got a lot of issues, right? And he sources them and does all that. And I think it's 5,000 or so more, you know, per each one. When I run our specials, which I'll be dropping one later today, the VAs, I'll do a special at $250 and stuff like that. But that's just, here's a taste so you can see, right? But our VA costs go all the way up to just over $1,000 on some of them, depending on what task. Like, is it a personal assistant? Is it human resources? Is it bookkeepers? Is it data entry? Is it GMB posts? You know, this is why on my website I changed it. You can buy the VA if you want, but I'm still going to say get on an onboarding call. You know, I prefer you to actually go to the page. It literally says virtual assistants, and then you book a call and then we talk. You know why? Because most of the time people think they need stuff they don't need, or they think they need one VA when they need four, because they're trying to get one to do everything. So those are some things that I have personally learned. One of the biggest things I learned was with Mads, right? So we brought in Mad Singers into, and I talked about this on Monday. We brought him in, and we talked about, so for example, maybe you think you can handle going and finding your own VA or your own people, just like I did. I didn't start this to go, hey, let me, you know, start a company. I started Rank Fortress and now William Jones Marketing because I needed some damn money. It wasn't to start a company, right? And then after it grows and you get some success, then you got to do business management and leadership. And you got to know about taxes, and you got to know about bookkeeping, and you got to know about all this shit, right? And do you do it all, or do you source people that are really good at it? And I brought in Mads. So Mads is really good at management, teaching management, and leadership. He's excellent SEO on top of it, even though I don't talk about it a lot of times. But and he uses the DISC method in people's personality: dominant, influencer, socialite, and then I think conservative, but DISC method. And I suck at management. I honestly 100% suck at management. Good at leadership, good at getting shit done. You know, I'm a strong D. I'm a dominant. I'm not really a, if you will, team player per se. Here's what needs to be done. Let's get it done. I don't want no damn excuses. That type of person. Very strong, authoritarian type, if you will, when it comes to getting shit done. Right. So who's the manager? Like in Kirk and Esther are wonderful management. Esther's wonderful management. And then you got Kirk, who's, great at leadership and motivating and motivation and organizing, stuff like that. So it makes our jobs a lot easier. And he's our partners and everything, and they're more like family. But you kind of have to look yourself in the mirror and go, am I good at this? Why does the same stupid shit keep happening? I went through a phase in which, okay, my league, I went over this on Monday. I'm not going to rehash it again today, but I went over through a phase. My main guy and my 4 or 5 leaders all try to do coup d'etat, take over Rank Fortress. Then I had a bunch of people, I had like my bookkeeper stealing from me and a bunch of different shit, right? So there's only one commonality in all of this, and that's the person who's hiring these people and the person in charge. So I go, well, I need to find, let's see if we do it this way. You've never had an issue ever, in the other company. What's the difference? Well, the difference is I'm not the manager. So I'm not the one hiring. I'm not the one firing. I'll let someone else do that, and I do all the training. And I do the motivation, and I do some organization and stuff like that. But you have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, well, why does screw ups keep happening? And most of the time, people come to me, business owners and entrepreneurs, and they're like, man, this VA is so stupid. I mean, I tell them this and this and this, and they always screw it up. And it's like, okay, so what did you do? Well, I fired him, and I got another VA, and it's the same thing. Well, honestly, you want my opinion, and most of the time people don't. I'll tell them, say, well, there's only one common denominator in all of these situations. Well, what's that? You. And that's where people, it's like they don't really want to hear that. They want to blame it on the VA. Same thing as in the States. They want to blame it on employees. In reality, it's the leader. You gotta do a checkup from the neck up and see, are you where you are? You want an A+ player? Are you an A+ husband? Are you an A+ wife? Are you an A+ leader? Are you an A+ dad or mom? 99% of the time, I can tell you, no, absolutely not. Fucked up so many times, it's ridiculous. But be honest with yourself as to why, things happen, and then learn from them. Like one of the big things I learned from, besides, I talked about this Monday, is not overly trusting my virtual assistants, not calling them my family. They're not my family. I'm not David Toretto from Fast and Furious. Not being Santa Claus, not always giving them everything. I had a guy write a review talking about, oh, William treats his staff like shit and this and this and this. I'm like, I did paid vacation, bro. We went to Palawan. I'm not Palawan, but Cagayan de Oro, paragliding and all this stuff. So when people come after you, say, listen, I've done so much for people, and the problem is you're being Santa Claus. And then what happens when you constantly give people stuff? They expect it. And they come to expect it. I'm not saying don't bonus people. I'm not saying, hey, you got a VA that's not doing good. Don't ever give them a bonus. Don't ever give them a treat. My wife cooked for our entire staff yesterday, which is our Friday, pan-seed, fish, and this and that. And she comes in and feeds them. And then we have a pep talk and talk about our team and how amazing it is and everything else. Well, you don't do that all the time, because otherwise it comes to be expected. Just like you don't do certain things all the time because it comes to be expected with your kids and shit like that. There's the things that I have had to learn through screw ups, not just, hey, everything's done right. And I don't know how William does it, man. I've tried to hire VAs and it's just fucked up all the time and this and that. Like, because you never see the screw ups. So our Fridays are going to be, well, and we're going to go through them all because I have the SOPs for them, and I'll show you guys this too. my SOP system. So for example, we're going to go over all this. This is what Fridays are going to be about and I want to show you real quick. All right, let me show you one. So we'll go over how many of you guys would like to be able to have someone handle your email so you don't ever have to handle. Right?
Absolutely.
Well, here's an inbox management SOP. And I'll tell you exactly, and we'll go through it step by step and create an SOP for you guys. If you're in this class, that's my intention, is we're going to create SOPs for you. You may say, well, I don't want certain things that are in this SOP. And, we'll go through them. And then I got bonus tips, stuff like that. So let's say, just give you an example. So I have, because I'm actually trained from podcast virtual assistants, customer service virtual assistants, main qualities look for and avoid in a customer virtual assistant, onboarding, common canned responses in customer service virtual assistants. Like if you hire virtual assistants, what type of responses should you give? Neutral customer, happy customers, upset customers. Here's a content bank, more tips. And we're going to go through all that. And if you actually tell me when you're on these calls on Friday, hey, Will, I need a SOP for this specific thing or this specific plugin or whatever, then we'll develop one for you. Interviewing process of hiring lead generation. Things to remember about hiring Filipinos. I could tell you a bunch of them, right? We're going to go through all of this stuff, right? And I'm here to help you guys develop your SOPs and get better at being an employer and help you with your virtual assistants. Why? Because if you're a better employer, you're going to have better staff, right? And when you have better staff, then you develop leaders, right? So we're going to go through all of these little things. And if you have an SOP you want me to look at, drop it in my inbox or email me at William Jones Marketing, and I will help you guys with it. If you don't want to do that, you want to outsource to us at Outsource Sharks. I'm all about that too. So it doesn't matter either way. You could outsource to us. You could wind up saying, hey, I don't want to outsource to you. I'd rather do it myself. That's fine. Either way, I'm here to help you guys as much as possible. Same as Alfredo. Alfredo uses our system, and I have other people that use our system and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. It's been good seeing you guys again today. We had a good amount of people. Next week, who do we have lined up, Alfredo?
So next week, guys, it's actually a pretty good lineup. On Monday, of course, with William, building an agency from the trenches. Let me get rid of the rest of the stuff here. Make this calendar bigger. On Tuesday, we have Sarah Van. A lot of you may know him in his group. He has a good group out there. He does training, sales stuff. So we're going to bring him on here, talk about, sales, talk about, marketing, how to market yourself. He does a really good job on that. On Wednesday, the 11th, we're going to have Chris Palmer, right? GMB pros, hacks, SEO stuff. And then do you really want me to tell you who we're having on the 12th?
No, don't say his name, but we have a special speaker that if most people know who he is, then it's going to be a little disruption in the SEO world. I'll put it that way. Yeah. But it'll be unexpected for most people. So, but nevertheless, me and him been chatting. He's been chatting with Alfredo, and we're going to be hooking up and doing some things. So it will be good. So, and then on Fridays, I'll be back too. So we're going to be back to being packed, and sometime probably by Monday, I will be doing the giveaway. If you're inside GMB Pros or if you're inside of my other groups, Make sure you go to the post I have, which says Wheel of Fortune. It says Wheel of Fortune in GMB Pros, but this one, and you pick a number, or you can go into the other groups like this one, and it has this picture, and this is a pick a number. But essentially, pick a number between 1 through 600. Whoever is closest to the number I've picked already wins. I'm choosing a service area business only, not one with an address showing. Service area business, address hidden. I'm going to rank them live inside of GMB Pros and show you all the tips and tricks on how to do it, because a lot of these SEOs out there say, oh, it's so much harder to get it ranked. Yes, it is, because most people don't tell you how to do it. So we're going to go over that. We're going to show you how to do it live. And I don't care if it's a locksmith, I don't care if it's a garage door, a doctor, lawyer, whatever it is. And you all use the same methods to get it done. So next week, see you guys on Monday. And if you have any questions between now and then, drop them in Facebook, and then I will get back to them. But appreciate it, guys. Thank you, Alfredo, and I will see you guys soon.
Thank you guys. Much love, much success.
Stop and record.